worker. If you're a normal skilled or unskilled worker, then you have only your work to show for it, and you can mostly only get recognition or acknowledgement through your work, through what you have accomplished as a carpenter. You build a desk, a chair, whatever. This is what you get recognition for your craftsmanship, but then you cannot some sort of show your ability as well as your value, because this is what it is. So you cannot be the head of the family, you cannot be recognized as the man who can take care of his wife, because this is still very actual in some areas in society. There's, as a man, this is a demand, so this is not something you choose. There's still some sort of a demand that you should take care of your wife, and then or that of your family, that you are the sole breadwinner, and this means that you are laborers. This does not mean that you're chauvinistic or whatever, or the left, or some feminist women. They always assume, yeah, this is what men choose because they want to be some sort of served by women. They like that women should be subordinated, and they seek family life. Not at all. This is always, which is demanded for me. This is your place. I mean, again, as I say this over and over again, if you go to university, if you have some sort of knowledge to show off, I mean, if you sit in a conversation with a beautiful girl and you can talk about, I don't know, if you can talk about Aristotle, about philosophy, if you can talk about, I don't know, Jane Austen, about literature, about what people assume, what smart people talk about. I mean, I don't know what they do, assumably about mathematics. I don't know. However, this is, then you have something to show off. But again, as a carpenter, as things are different, or as an unskilled worker. I mean, or if people, especially in the millennial age, everyone talks about traveling. Everyone talks about, yeah, well, I went there, I saw that, and the only thing you can talk about is, yeah, that you went to Turkey every year and spent time in the home, in the house your parents built for their retirement. So this is indeed very difficult, and of course, then you cannot fulfill this. I mean, your purpose, because you always seek something purpose, and this was as a when I was a carpenter as well. I mean, there were of course people, especially those who went to universities, were considered as smart, as in a way better than us, but nevertheless, we always said to us, "Oh, this is what you could always see and hear among those people who, among carpenters, and that was that yeah, they may go to the university, but we are more manly. We know how to build things." I mean, one very famous example is, as always, that an intellectual, studious man is capable of hanging up a picture on the wall or whatever, or putting a nail in the wall. So these are things what people talk about as well. And then of course, through rationalization, through modernization, you are more and more pushed out of your sphere. You are more and more, you cannot fulfill this manliness, and then of course you hate this system. But first and foremost, you hate those people whom you think they have an overage advantage of you. This is the fear. This is the fear that speaks about you. This is the fear which then becomes apparent, and you cannot avoid it anymore, because you are then put in the situation where you stand face to face, and then you would have to fear your see and are your inferiority, and you cannot do something about it. So the fear that this counter culture, or the values of your counter culture, then become meaningless. I mean, this is in the carpentry. I mean, if you are being get rid of, or if you are being rationalized away by an engine, or by a machinal, by an automat, so that you become exchangeable, interchangeable, it is understandable. You get treated, you get understandable that those people of the other side of the spectrum, that they do not know what life is. I mean, because of course, because they don't understand what it means that your pride, your manliness is insulted. Because why? Because that's the only way you got recognition for. That's the only way you could be some sort of a man. That's the only way your world was still in fine, in shape, whatever you have it. This is as well as with this body positive. I mean, this is very heavy and severe. I mean, if you see some people, what this was now, things have in a way changed, but back in the days, if people, this was partially before the social media really took off. I mean, if you would see someone obese or somewhere, people would immediately chide them, attack this person, because this person was assumed as lazy, as fat, as this pickable, as unhealthy. And now, so this is as well as very severe. And then this counter culture then helps you in a way, some sort of maintain a body positive appearance, maintain a world which is still fine. But then of course you always have the fear of not being accepted. And then when this stops, when people stop accepting you for being obese, yeah, then you always then you are put back and put in this situation where you cannot avoid this insufficiency anymore. So where you are then have to face that you are still an outcast or whatever. Or if you want, if you are a migrant, this happened to me. If you are a migrant and if you grow up in the notion that no matter what you do, or that those people who are uneducated, that they will always be racists. But once you go to university, once you surround yourself with intellectually sophisticated people, things would change. So people would not notice that you are a foreigner, or that you being a foreigner would not be an issue. But then you discover and see in the university with your own eyes what this happens. I mean, that this is not true. Things get even worse, really nasty. So people in the university, they're indeed very vicious. They don't have any decency. I mean, at least not in Austria. This is what I experienced. However, and then you get shocked, and you some sort of stand in front of the shatters of an illusion. And then this of course there was always this fear. I mean, this is what you had always in the university, with those interactions with everyone. I mean, you while you as a migrant always interact with people, of course you always have this fear that someone calls you out as a dumb Turk, as a stupid Middle Eastern idiot, as a moron. Or I always feared, or my biggest fear always was that when I go to the university, people would ask me, "What are you doing here? You are wrong here. You are too stupid for university," and so on. I mean, this was the fear you always have. And then these things happen. I mean, and then they really happen. You do not believe it, and then you stand there. You stand there. You are put in this situation. You cannot do it any for these people. They do not take you seriously. They make fun of you, or even worse, talk about how to get rid of you, and you have to listen to that, and you don't know how to avoid it. I mean, this was indeed racist. I mean, how can you deal with racism? I mean, if you are attacked from all sides, and this is indeed devastating, because you cannot change anything. And there, right there, this is not all about money. This is as well as about recognition, especially as a human being. I mean, this is especially if you are a victim of racism, if you have always been some sort of marginalized, not only marginalized but as well as hated for being a foreigner, for being inferior, for being dumb, for being too stupid, or whatever, or that you would have all a bad body, or to us, for example, a common prejudice against Middle Eastern in Austria as well as in Germany is that Middle Eastern people would smell after garlic. I mean, I don't know what, however, this is what many people say, and that Austrian men would not hang out with Middle Eastern women because they would smell of garlic, their vaginas would smell of garlic, that they would be filthy, and Austrian women as well as Austrian as well as German women do not like Middle Eastern men because they smell, they are disgusting, they don't wash themselves and they smell of garlic. This is what people say to you, and this is of course embarrassing, devastating, these prejudices. And then if you find them, if you really find them in the university, and even it goes even more nasty and in a way more hideous, especially by people who should have known better, especially by leftists, by feminists, what have you. I mean, this is what you're shocked, this is what you are then being thrown back into the stand. This is the fear which then has overcome to you, and this is the antagonism which you cannot change anymore, because then you are barred from any acknowledgement or as a human being or whatever. I mean, this is not very easy, of course. I mean, this is devastating if you are not even considered a human being, and people try everything, and this is what they did in Austria as well, and you could not do anything against it. I mean, everyone who wanted to do or wants to do anything against you was allowed and was even encouraged to do that. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I always feel deep satisfaction for every Austrian and German who dies in this pandemic, because there's still hatred against these people. This is what it is. I mean, this is what the dislike of the existence of some people is. I mean, I would not harm anything or anyone, but if this virus gets Austrians or Germans, well, I'm fine with it. I mean, I find this in a way justice, because it is not likely that Austria as well as Germany will be forced to pay restitution for the cause of the damage this pandemic has caused. However, I mean, there is a lot of hatred against it because you are not considered as human being anymore. This is not about love. I mean, this is love is something you demand or want on a subjective basis. Of course, you want to be liked, especially by attractive women if you're a man, or heterosexual man, or whatever. If you're a woman, of course you want to be seen as attractive, but here this is about being recognized as a human being, and of course having the same abilities, having the same possibilities like anyone else. And this is then what leads to hate, because you cannot accomplish it anymore, you cannot buy it anymore, and then you still assume that the system is right, but only that some people take more out than they deserve to. This is the problem, partially the problem of it. I mean, this is we will. I mean, hate is indeed a definition. I mean, this is what we still need, some sort of a definition, and hate in that sense would mean that this is the antagonism. Hate is the antagonism of two opposite sides, or let's, because in that sense, hate would be the unfulfilled desire of an antagonistic or society, or a perceived antagonistic society where others, either in real or fictitiously, are better off than you, which then leads to you hating the existence of this other. So this was Adam Gebers from Ordu here in the pandemic on this July day. I hope that you all are doing fine, and bye.